Alright, so good morning, and yeah, sorry for not being very active with videos recently, but basically just been very focused on my actual training and preparing for the Frankfurt Marathon, which didn't quite go to plan, but yeah, anyway, I am back here and wanted to do a bit of an update on my most used shoe of this training block, which is this one here, the Puma Velocity Nitro 4. I actually have 550k in this pair, and I like this shoe so much that I bought a second pair, and yeah, I actually have two of these now, so yeah, let's see how I've been getting on. Okay, so what does this shoe actually feel like underfoot? Well, think Nike Pegasus, Brooks Ghost, Asics Cumulus, or, well, you get the picture. Kind of your basic daily trainer, kind of the entry-level model. But this shoe does have an ace up its sleeve, and that is clearly the foam here, this Puma Nitro foam. And I'm not quite sure if this actually PBA or, I don't know, but it feels wonderful, I have to say, and it's just so much better than these other standard models. So much more bounce in this, and such a nice feeling of cushion, but without like being too crazy. Like, it's not a max cushion shoe or something like that, but man, I have to say this just feels so good, and it's just so much nicer than these other kind of basic shoes. Yeah, I think that's kind of why I like this shoe so much. It's just not really a spectacular shoe, and I mean that in the best way possible. As you know, my other main kind of daily trainer in this block has been the Nike Vomero Plus, which I also really like, but it is kind of a very present shoe on foot. Like, you do just feel like you have a lot of shoe on, and yeah, this isn't like that. This is just, you know, not a lot of rocker in this fairly basic upper, just a very good and comfortable fit for me. Yeah, it's just the kind of shoe that you just put on foot and almost like forget that it's there, and there's just not a lot of thinking about this. It just feels like it kind of moves into the background and does its job, if that makes sense. Now, just a bit of a word of warning with this one. Yeah, this is a very, very narrow shoe, and it's narrow in the midfoot, and it tapers down even more in the forefoot. Yeah, there's not exactly a whole lot of stretch in this upper either. It's kind of a typical Puma fit, where you feel like it's maybe slightly long in the toe box, and I actually went a half size down on this, but it's so narrow that going a half size down is a bit tricky and is not going to work for everyone. So honestly, I think this is kind of the main drawback, if you want to say it like that, but for me it's fine. If you have a very wide foot, then honestly just forget about this one. Yeah, there's a bit of a preconception nowadays that you need a max cushion shoe or a massive stack of foam basically underfoot if you're doing high mileage or long runs. And well, I mean, like I said, I've used this for most of my daily runs on my marathon block, where it did average about 140, 150k a week, so it is quite something, and I really don't agree with that statement. I think this is more than enough protection underfoot, and I think it is very helpful to just have a shoe that's nice and light, so it doesn't actually feel like it makes running harder, like a lot of these very heavy max cushion bricks. Now, when I say that this is the best daily trainer on the market, I do have to put a bit of an asterisk to that and say that this is the best daily trainer on the market for me, and that's not necessarily going to apply to everyone. Now, I've talked about the fit, but this is also a very, very neutral shoe, and I don't mean that in the sense that this is an unstable shoe, but there's really not a lot of support built into this. And just look at how twisty this midsole is, and think of a Brooks Ghost or a Nike Pegasus once again. You could not do that with those shoes, and very flexible as well. Very soft foam, very narrow base, and not a lot of support in the upper either. So I do think if you struggle with pronation and feel like you need a bit more stability, then I would maybe be careful with this one. And if you have a chance to try this on before buying, then please do so. yeah, also the shoe is just so incredibly light. This is only 198 grams in my size EU 39 or UK 6. Yeah, it really is quite incredible. The only other daily trainer in that kind of weight category is the New Balance Rebel 5, and well, that shoe has gone completely flat at only 180k or something like that. It's just, yeah, not a very durable shoe. And this one is now at 550 kilometers and still feels exactly as it did. Alright, so yeah, look at this here. This is my brand new pair of Velocity Nitro 4s. This thing has done one run so far, about 9 or 10k, and when I bought this one, I have to say I was equally impressed and also a bit annoyed. And annoyed in the sense that buying a second pair was not actually necessary, as this shoe, I can 100% honestly say that, feels exactly the same as the old one. And let's just put the old one next to this and have a bit of a quick look at durability here. You can see there's an obvious, well, bit of a color difference, but do consider this thing has gone through 500k in pretty much every condition, so yeah, it is going to be a bit dirty at some point. But yeah, I honestly have to say this Nitro foam, this Puma midsole, whatever it is, it really has not changed. It really feels exactly the same. It has exactly the same cushion, exactly the same bounce. You don't feel like it's gone flat or anything. It, yeah, really is very, very impressive. And just looking at the outsole here, well, this has Puma grip, and if you look at the right one here, this is the new pair. Well, the ridges are a bit deeper, especially in the forefoot here, where it's gone a bit, well, a little bit flat in the old pair. But do you notice that underfoot? Honest answer is no. It feels exactly the same. And I mean, you do have to consider that this shoe is only 130 euros, which is pretty much the cheapest daily trainer on the market. And it is also, well, probably, as I said, for me, the best daily trainer on the market. So very, very impressed by the durability on this one. Alright, so yeah, I think that's it here on the Puma Velocity Nitro 4. I think I've said everything I wanted to say on this one. I really think Puma has pretty much the best daily trainer on the market, at least for me. And buying two pairs of these does say a lot, as I do have so many shoes and I very, very rarely buy a second pair. And yeah, hope you found this entertaining and highly recommend this shoe. Like and subscribe as always, and see you soon.